Let's try this. Hello. Okay. Sorry about that, folks, but that's why I check. I had a reset of some of my gear. Let me know if you can hear me, not hear me. I know I'm going to type in here. Let me know if you can hear me now. I'm going to check it on this side too. Yep, we're back. Okay. I lost everybody. I lost everybody who came in. Hi, Jeff. Good morning. And Jeff, double check, since you are the inspiration for this. I am officially on 1080p. That's why I had to reset some of my gear. I made my StreamYard account live for the 4K. I'm really excited about this topic. So a lot of folks came and left, and maybe they just heard me doing silent movie time. Today, I want to tie together a bunch of topics because one of the things that's been happening, and I've been getting everybody excited about, is I'm going to use a metaphor to start today's show. Somebody asked me this morning, how do I feel? How am I doing? And I think this applies personally as well as in business. I'm somewhere between where I was and where I want to be. And I don't know if I'm going to stick with that, but I like that. I may put that up as my catchphrase. I say right now on my personal profile on Facebook, I say, what's the secret to happiness? It's something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to. But if somebody asks me how I'm feeling, I think what I'm going to say is, that's Chris checking in. I think I'm going to say something along the lines, personally, I'm somewhere between where I was and where I really want to be. For my business, somewhere where it was, somewhere where I really want it to be. But today's topic is going to be chock full of, I have slides prepared. I want to talk about summarizing the basic principles behind almost everything I've been doing in WordPress technology entrepreneurship over the last, I'm 57. So, I've been entrepreneurial since 10, so 47 years. But in WordPress, the last 20 years, there are really four things, the four pillars to success for an online business. And in doing so, let me adjust the slides because I think this will give us enough height. The reason that I want to put it in this context is because imagine you went to IKEA, my favorite store, and you tried to say to a friend, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Jeff. I would like you to come along with me. And the person says, why should I go to IKEA? Well, if you said to them, like, look, they got great spoons, or I want to show you the Perklunkta table versus the Verklepta table or something, they're like, what are you talking about? Instead, you would want to summarize it in a way that really brings the essence of everything about IKEA. It's this really amazing modern store that has these awesome sample furnishings of different rooms of a house that you can sit in and play and pretend. They've got incredible food if you want to eat while you're there and walk around with the stuff. It's fun for the whole family, and there's free parking. Those are just four ways I'm exempling, but the idea is you're really not talking about the details of what's under it. You're instead of summarizing it in terms of four columns. Or four pillars. Here are the four pillars that I have found are the prerequisites of most every successful business, especially online. And let's just jump into slide one. Number one, it's left to right, by the way, because I'm doing it English style. Sales pages. The sales pages do not need to be limited to the actual website you're on, which is something that's somewhat surprising, but I will show you again using some of the online stuff I'll share with you. You can actually succeed by having an engine inside of your WordPress site, but the sales pages could exist in something like the Canva platform, or your YouTube channel could have a description with links. You could have Instagram. You can have Facebook Reels. You can just literally give out pamphlets at the mall with a link. Don't think of sales pages as being only inside of the site. Think of those as the way to explain to people what pain point you have to solve for them. Think of them as the billboard that you're driving by on the highway. Hungry for a cheeseburger? Best cheeseburgers in Chicago. Turn right at the next exit. Your sales page is the thing that you need in order to explain that you are, as an entrepreneur or otherwise, solving a pain point for a specific type of person, a specific type of problem, a specific type of situation. Number 2 column is the checkout. And I'm going to come back to these in details, but the checkout is the place where the transaction occurs. The transaction occurs within your ready to go launch kit or your Poofka or whatever other solution you may choose to use outside of my advice. But what I offer to you is a platform built with the very best curated stuff in WordPress that works better in many cases than anything else you can get, but with the promise of ownership and control. Number 3, after checkout. We're going to talk about that. Those are the things that happen when somebody is giving you their money, giving you their registration, giving you the information that's near and dear to their hearts. Where do you take them next? And this is a real discussion about, like, what is your style of selling? Is it like the Home Depot, or is it like a modern sales funnel? Do you expect people to wander the aisles aimlessly looking for solutions, or do you hand it to them by coming out to their car and plopping it all in the trunk prepaid? And then finally, what I will put a little time on today as well, which is my newest addition, the final pillar, is the ability to create custom dashboards. That is what I've been using as a metaphor, is the lobby of your new facility, of your health club. That's where all of the new prospects and the paying customers always come in, and they can see everything that is important to them, all aggregated into one logical place. I am not a member here, but I see the membership subscription desk, and there's the pools and the bike and the Peloton and all the stuff I want to do. I know where to go to get access and pay my money. If I'm a member, I know exactly, go through the members door into the members gym, into the buffet or the pool or whatever I've paid for. And it's the same metaphor. The neat thing is, I provide you through these mechanics a way to make money, not just for yourself, for your own business, but as an implementer, as an agency person, as a creator who can create the accessories. Because like IKEA, like Lego blocks, like many other platforms such as Canva, the real money is not in doing the hard, heavy lifting. The real money is doing the easy stuff that's super simple and sexy. Okay, let's go forth. And I'm going to also, because now I'm on premium, I can add an extra screen just for shits and giggles here. I'm just going to show you this. This is the current sales page, and I want to prove a point to you, just because I do a lot of things that people go, what? It's that simple. With launching this new product, it's something I've been trying to do for some time. And it's the same way that I did launch flows back in 2019. It didn't start out with launch flows being what it is today. It started out with just a simple sales page and an idea. Even today, 5 years later, look at how stupidly simple this is, right? I have a lot more testimonials and stuff, but the idea is there's just a few panels, because like a billboard on the highway, I don't need to explain a lot. That doesn't help. Instead, for the initial sales page, I need to just do it like, man, you got 3 minutes to make somebody understand what's going on. So in this case, customer dashboards for WooCommerce made easy. That's the pain point. That's the solution. Displaying everything your customers need in one place. And then below it is the call to action. Learn more or click and buy now. So 3 parts to the billboard on any sales page, or in the top of your website for that matter. One is explain the pain in a way that people understand, or if you wish, you could call it paint a pretty picture. In this case, customer dashboards for WooCommerce made easy. I may change this. This was just, I threw this thing up here, but it seems to encapsulate the pain is that, like, people don't realize, don't know that they need dashboards. When they do realize it, it's like, well, how do I even begin? And I try to suggest that it's already like at the tip of your nose, because all you're going to use is WooCommerce, even if you don't buy anything, even if it's for free. And so displaying everything your customers need in one place is kind of the solution part 2. And the third part is the call to action. Well, either learn more real quick or buy now. And I even provide a link to the documentation, but that's not necessary. You can get started with your product or service the same way. Some sales page that makes it real easy, like the Sponge Daddy, or like the razor blades that, trim your beard or trim your legs, as close as anything else. Try it now. Here's where the learn more part and the simplicity comes in. Again, this is not to toot my own horn. This is just because I'm trying to be very meta here. I'm using the very tools that I sell to you because the tools that I use have succeeded across tens of thousands of customers and get real world experience. So showing and hiding and relocating, combining multiple dashboards, works with all page builders, no coding required. That's it. Why do I have so little stuff? Because if I describe for you a scene, like maybe you've gone to IKEA. So I say to you, hey, imagine you're coming on a trip with me to IKEA. Now, if you've been to IKEA, you know what I mean. You go, let's go to the third floor and I'm going to have the Swedish pancakes and you're going to have the meatballs. And then afterwards, we're going to have the sweet rolls. And then we're going to go down to the kitchen table area and we're going to play some poker on one of those big, like you can imagine in your mind the sight, the smell, the sounds, the feeling of being there if you've been there before. And if not, you'll invent it in your head. Rather than me being deliberate and specific and literal and trying to paint that for you, it's way more powerful if you let the customer paint the picture for themselves. So by adding in visuals like suggestions rather than being literal, you end up with a much better result because it also gives you the freedom to move on your sales pages. So for A/B testing and other purposes, much, 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 much easier to deal with than if you're trying to just go to all the trouble. I have to have everything perfect from day one and whatever. In fact, I would recommend that you never, never, never start a product or a business by trying to be so specific, because it's only through the interaction with your real world prospects, customers, paying customers, that you learn what people really want and need. And that's how I've arrived at how stupidly simple this can all be. So the essence of the sales page is really to present your offer, take away less words, more visuals, simplify it, give yourself the breathing room so that you get the attention of people enough to get them into trying the product or service, having a call with you. Don't be enamored with the idea that you have to build everything inside of WordPress, because I will go to like a hands-on at the end of this, but I'll show you how you can just take the product and use the link anywhere inside of Canva. In fact, I might as well just do it here. It's just faster. So for example, I'm going to show you the demo dashboard of this stuff in the end. But if I go in here, I've got the ability to add a product that I sell anywhere. All I need to do is take that particular product using launch flows and use it as a link inside of anything, YouTube, Instagram, blah, 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 blah. Every product has a unique ID. And if I were to grab the unique ID with launch flows, I can go ahead into something like a Canva, make a sales page. Maybe this is better for you or your customer than having to work in Gutenberg. I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm saying maybe it's easier. I use Canva for everything. You can see even these, every one of these videos and live events. So the idea of taking something and turning it into a product and a hosted website is super duper easy here, because all you need to do is click on anything and add a link to it. And the link leads back to the thing that you're selling inside of your launch kit solution, inside of your home base, built on the products inside of launch kit, you know, the software, WooCommerce subscriptions, you've got marketing automation maybe, and so forth. All right. So conceptually, don't overthink the sales page as being something that you have to spend hours and days and weeks building. However, as we'll come back to, the ability to build beautiful sales pages with the same tools as everyone else in this ecosystem is using means that, like behind me is some IKEA stuff, means that you can make an incredible opportunity for yourself as a designer. I'll suggest you back to this. So I've talked about the idea with Canva. There's this Etsy community. This is not new. I've said this many, many times. But if you search for, templates for Canva, there are people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just making cool, ready-to-use stuff that works in Canva. Why? Because Canva is $1 billion company now. They've got an incredibly huge audience. And so it's very, very easy. I mean, some of these things are like a couple dollars and some of them are hundreds of dollars, but it's very, very easy to make accessories that work with Canva, because Canva has such a huge audience and people are lazy and they want instant satisfaction. So instead of selling Canva, instead of building this stuff from scratch, there are people who are using Etsy to sell nothing more or less than templates. So If I said, for example, business templates for Canva, it would be even more specific, and you probably start to see stuff that's, here's a 97 cents. It's ridiculous. But I've seen things on here that the entire bundle was much, much higher. I noticed, by the way, it is interesting to see, I'm noticing way, way more people doing this at a much lower price, which is an example of Canva's own success. There used to be, when I first started doing this, maybe, I don't know, a few dozen results, and they were selling for $100. As soon as everybody gets into the market, of course. Now, here's one, for example, $73.50. I'm not trying to say this is a make money with Spence thing, but $73.50, and they've sold 1,100 of them. So let's round it to 1,000. It's close to 100 grand of sales of this particular thing, like shop access. And there's lots of examples of this when you dig deeper. So the concept is, now let's talk about Dribble. Dribble is a design inspiration site. This is where people who are really super talented with design have been sharing their stuff that they do for work or their own inspiration. What's neat about this, and here's where the metaphor comes in, is like, this stuff is child's play to reproduce inside of Gutenberg with Cadence, if you know just a little bit. That's one of the reasons that I'm suggesting this, is that you don't need to start from scratch. You can find some cool inspiration anywhere. And as I did for you, take this and then make it into a functional pattern that you then sell to people who, guess what, are using WordPress or any of the components of the kit that are relevant, like WooCommerce, launch flows, and so forth. So the idea is, it's not just a matter of making it for your own business, but it's also, you can make functional dashboards that look amazing based upon your own inspiration or someone else's. And those become sales pages, or in this case, as I was talking about, they could be the actual like dashboard pages. Let's talk about the next part of the pillars, checkout. One of the things that surprises people is they think that checkouts need to be like Ron Popeil is still selling stuff, or that long form sales letters are still in action, which they're not. So in the old days, 5 years ago, it was like, overwhelm people with endlessly scrolling sales pages. I have lots of clients who still do really well with this, but like, if you said it once, then it's better to say it twice. If you said it twice, it's better to say it 10 times. If you said it 10 times, say it 1,000 times, and maybe you will wear them down. I don't think we live in that world anymore. I'm sure we don't live in that world anymore. So long form sales letters as sales pages, you are just showing your age, like bringing people to a kitchen with avocado appliances, or, wearing bell-bottom jeans and big collars on your shirt. I think it's not appropriate. Now, does it still work for some groups of people? Yes. Is it the best thing for today? No. Similarly, the upsells, downsells, order bumps, the things you need to take from somebody, the thing that's most important in the pillar of a checkout, above everything else, is you need to get the email from the person first. If you take away one thing from today, every checkout should have the email first, if you can. Let's go to the live screen, shall we? Let's go to WP Launchify checkout. I'll just toot my own example because I live by it. What's the first thing that let me go bigger. What's the first and the most important thing I've got? It is the email address. Okay. Now, I want to point out something else that we'll talk about. Notice how clean and stupidly simple this is. I put the cart through the Launch Flows product at the top of the checkout. It's just really, it's almost like a single column layout, but it's a single column with just 2 columns at the bottom, so that almost the whole thing fits, by the way, without scrolling. Not entirely, but really, really close. Somebody can add or remove a product right there. They don't have to go to another step. They don't have to go to a cart. If they want to browse other products, I put a link here for convenience. If they wanted to clear the cart and start over, they can do that. These buttons are here. But it's just like the streamlined, almost like using one of those online order services of Toast. It's like, here's the food you got, here's the time it's ready, here's the information about picking up your order. But notice, I only take the email address, first name and last name. Now, if it's a product that has to do with like hosting, such as LaunchKit, I give somebody the ability to toggle additional fields, including site name and site location. And if they need for Europe VAT information, you can put that in. But otherwise, look at how minimalistic this is. And the idea is that's because if they give me the email first, I can keep that for, if I need, getting back to them if they abandon the cart. Number two, all I need to be in the relationship with them is a way to communicate, which the first name, last name is nice. That ain't going to help me. I need to have their email. So the most important thing I value over even the money is the email. But after that, I want to make the checkout with as little friction as possible. So 2 takeaways. Number 1, get the email first and always. Number 2, get rid of every single thing you legally can from the checkout so that people can just give you their money and then get everything else after that. So many of my clients come freaking out. I got to take the DNA sample, Social Security, their kids' names, what kind of car they drive, where they grew up. I'm like, whoa. Can you imagine if you went to like the supermarket and instead of just being like, here's my bag of Cheetos, can I give you the money? They were like, hold on, fill out this entire application form. How often would you go back to that store in a world where everybody else is like, just move your phone in front of the thing? Or some stores like that experimental Amazon is like, don't even bother talking to us. Just take our stuff and we'll charge you for it. We live in a world of zero patience, very minimal amount of attention span. So the checkout needs to be get the email, get the money, get the hell out of there, because you're going to have the ability using the tools that we provide, marketing automation. You're going to have the ability to track who saw this, clicked this, bought this, did this anyway, and you can follow up with them. Ann says, good morning, Ann. Right. So good question, Ann. Here's the deal. You don't always have to have abandoned cart enabled. You don't. But what happens out of the box, if you're using LaunchKit and WooCommerce, it will set what's called a transient, a cookie in their browser, so that even if you're not doing the real deal like follow-up, that it will at least be filled with the stuff. You noticed when I came back here, it was filled with stuff. So most modern browsers will set a 30-day cookie, or a transient, if you will, so that they won't lose where they're at. Like the kids start screaming, they get distracted by the UPS driver, the dog runs away with, the spoon, whatever it is, they can come back. But really you can turn on the feature, I should say, that we've got, which is abandoned cart. An abandoned cart works in LaunchKit with WP Fusion so that we can actually know to send them a message. We can email them. We can put a banner on the site. We can keep track of what it was they had, even if they end up going to another machine or interface later and log in. So you're right. It's not dependent, but like I'm getting to the idea of like, what if we didn't ask for the email first? What if it's at the bottom of the list like it normally is? What a drag if they got distracted before they typed in their email. That's it. Great question, by the way. Thank you. Okay. After checkout. Now, this is one of my favorite topics because, see, I had a great consultation with a wonderful company and a client of ours now. I will not name this person because I value his, it is a him, but like I value his logic. And we started the conversation on the wrong foot because he had a preconceived notion of what tools he wanted to use and why. And I had to really come down pretty heavy about, please leave all your carving furniture out of, trees mindset at home, because we're in the world of coming to IKEA. And in doing so, he wanted to use some plugins that did this and that and this and that were very heavy, what I call frameworks. And I said, it's so simple. With the tools we've got, everything is just connecting the dots. And one of the examples I gave to him was, we live in a world where everybody has their favorite drag and drop tool. I love this one that's free called Whimsical. And this is, okay, good. There's no name on this, so I don't want to reveal who this person is because he was sold at the end. By the end, we ended up, it was a 1-hour paid consultation. I gave him 2.5 hours. And it was amazing. But like, here's a Whimsical. This is like any other drag and drop sales tool or planning tool. But here's what's neat about it. It allows you to just, in an old school kind of way, let's put that out a little bit, in an old school kind of way, like, I I don't need to overcomplicate what my sales funnel is or what happens after checkout. I can just make a pretty picture, because using the launch kit tools, launch flows, customer checkouts, all the other stuff, I could just say, look, here's a sales page and I'm going to take them to checkout. Now, maybe on the checkout, I'm going to offer them an order bump, like, but wait, there's more. Or maybe I'm going to do an old school thing and I'm going to come from the checkout and just go directly to a thank you page, right? I'm not even going to stop and give an order bump. I'm just going to take them to a thank you page. And the thank you page is going to be the thing that says, here's what you got, but by the way, there's something else you can do, orienting them. And so my point is, after that conversation, you do not need whiz-bang tools. You do not need to overcomplicate it. You literally can have your good old-fashioned, I buy these mead journals from Amazon for $1.25 each. You can have this as your sales funnel planning tool. And what happens after checkout is dependent on what you're selling and to whom. But it should be something that does three things. One, it orients people to what they've just done. So in other words, it'd be very disorienting at that store. I'm trying to figure out which my favorite one of these. I'm going to go with this one. If you went to the grocery store, what happens? You pay your money and either you get a physical paper receipt or you get a digital receipt. Like Walgreens is digital, Costco, the whole rigmarole of like, you know, the facade of that long receipt and the person magic markering it. You need to give that to somebody so they know that the party's over here. You're done with this part of the relationship. But then what do you want to do next? You have an opportunity to either send them to the thing they just bought, which is part of what we do in launch flows, where each product can have a little link in the actual receipt that's like, click here to do, for example, go to lesson 1 of this course you bought, or click to go here to this webinar you just paid to get access to, or download this blankety blank. Second thing, by the way, sorry about the coughing today. I had some wonderful spicy pistachio nuts beforehand, and one of them is still there. Upsell on the very same thank you page, or something that comes next. You could, hey, but wait, since you just bought this blankety blank thing, I'm going to offer you something else. It's kind of like the order bump, except you've gotten their credit card, you've gotten their money. They're already in like Flynn. So it's a little safer from not distracting them. I'm going to use some Trident Vibes gum. They're a sponsor of the show, not. Finally, giving directions. There's always an escape. So on the thing that happens after checkout, besides validating you got a receipt, it's like the door is there. Hand your receipt to the person at the door. Or, you know, like on the Walgreens electronic coupons, it's like, oh, you have $5 of value. You can buy something else in the store. Like I put, click to go to your My Account, click to view your past orders. I put those at the bottom of every thank you page because some people just want to know, like, well, what did you charge me? What just happened? It's all on you. And the design components, as we've been discussing, are equally oh my goodness, sorry about that, are equally easy with what's inside of Launch Kit. So making this happen is fantastic. And by the way, you can't do the dynamic content, but you could take them to an external page. You could take them to an amazing thing outside, like a webinar on Zoom, or you could take them to a Canva page that has some other cool design. But if we go back here, let's go to WP Launchify. I don't know if I actually have a thank you that would have live data because it remembers the last thing you bought. Oh, it did. It remembered. So here, stupid simple, right? Like the plumber's toilet is very simple because I want it reliable. So this is when you spend $5,000 with me. This is a $300 consultation, but it doesn't matter how much. It just says, thank you. Here's what you bought. Here's how much you paid. Click to go to your account. That's it. Now, in the demos, I have a little more advanced version of this that gives you some inspiration. And that's where the fun of you making a living by building cool stuff using launch flows or Launch Kit. Here's an example of a default pattern that I give to people quite frequently. It's just like a design of your information. Here's the links that go to your account dashboard or previous orders. And then below the thanks, it doesn't show here, because there's no order in it, but I could do this live. It will show what the last purchase was if you were logged in. So you can kind of see from the thumbnail here, it looks almost exactly the same. You have a component that shows whatever things were just bought through the WooCommerce transaction. All right. The new stuff, the fun stuff, the customer dashboard. Now, I just did a video on this last Friday. I talked to the demo host, which is InstaWP Vicus, and it turns out they had some problem where another company was on the same server as my demo, and that's why the hosting really shit the bed. So last week was a bit of a disaster. Today I can do a couple more things on it. I'm really excited about this the most because it does not matter whether you even use WooCommerce for selling. If you have an LMS, Buddy Boss, if you're doing anything that involves membership, if you have even just a newsletter, it doesn't matter even if you're using the rest of LaunchKit. WordPress is the place that you can own and control your audience for the various things you need to do. For example, you likely got an email from me today if you're on my list, which is being run on what I will call a standalone Fluent CRM marketing automation hub. I use it as the hub for all my businesses, and I use it obviously because I love the Fluent products, but it's not a place you go to visit. It's at 1WDTV. There's literally, I've shown you guys this before, there's nothing here. It's just a placeholder, but all of the stuff comes out of this. And the reason that this is important is because even if it turns out that you are not running WordPress for anything else, you can use this as a feature for gathering people up and managing what you deliver to them. But where it really shines is when you use the features of WooCommerce, Launch Flows, all the other marketing automation stuff, because now you can combine all of the things that you need to show to people into one spot, and you can own it. You can make it something that, like, whether it's the design part or the actual mechanics, are valuable enough to sell to other people who just, like me going to IKEA. Yeah, I could probably buy furniture anywhere else, but I go to IKEA because they just, like a concierge in a hotel, make the experience so fun. I mean, especially if you had little kids. My kids are older now. We don't go as often, but if it's a snowy Sunday or a rainy Sunday, like, let's go out to the mall and go to IKEA. It's just a fun place to hang out once in a while because they make it such an enjoyable experience of everything in one spot. I think if you have that mindset for your own business, as well as for making the business of doing this for other entrepreneurs, there's money to be made. And I'm going to go through some of the specifics here in my slide because I'm going to be making more content around the new product, customer dashboards. I won't bore you with too much mechanics here. The number one thing it does is show, hide, and relocate. So one of the reasons that this is, to me, so useful or powerful is just like I showed you with the checkout and the thank you and so forth. Don't show too much. When you use WooCommerce out of the box, it just gives you this, it's like an IRS tax form of stuff. It's just way too much stuff, way too much stuff. And it doesn't give you much control over where you put it. You need to have the drag and drop simplicity or control of being able to do whatever you want. So I won't make this like a hands-on thing, but here inside of this, let's refresh the page. Inside of this custom drag and drop layout, I can use the power of Gutenberg and Cadence blocks to either from scratch build something or just take a pattern in 1 minute or less. I can copy and paste a pattern and I'll be done. And I've demonstrated this 1,000 times, but that was the whole benefit of what I was previously demonstrating on patterns, not launch flows, right? Here's a complex sales table. I need that in my business. Okay, copy the pattern code, paste it, change a couple words, you're done. Whether for yourself or a customer, it's equally easy. Similarly here, I have all the various components that are just built with Cadence blocks that I can save and share and rebuild and change and alter and do whatever I want. But they're all just as simple as dragging around the screen and dropping. I got to make this a little smaller because the scale gets weird. But if you kind of get the gist of it, if I want to change the words or the color or the style, or the order, any of the stuff that I'm doing. It's just plain right in front of me, even aesthetically, right? The colors and so forth. I just change the color. Who cares? You don't have to be a rocket scientist, and you definitely don't need to know any code. So that's a big deal, because then you can make it exactly as you think it should be for the simplest outcome possible, for yourself or for a customer. Combining multiple dashboards into one. Now, this is something that, like, as a person who's an expert for social networking since day one, almost 20 years now, well, probably over 20 years, people like to use Buddy Boss. People like to use Buddy Press. People like to use other components that are social in nature, like the LearnDash groups or Lifter LMS. You might have somebody who's an affiliate and you want to have a group of people in affiliate. You might have a directory. By being able to combine multiple things into one stage with conditional display, this makes it the perfect opportunity to say, there's one place you go to log in, one place you go to change your password, one place you go to set your, everything you need somebody to see in one spot. It's like the lobby of the health club, where I was suggesting it doesn't matter whether you're a member or whether you're inspiring to be a member. You're going to find everything you need in that one place, kind of like Costco. You know, you don't go into Costco 6 different doors. You go in one door, show your card, you're in like Flynn. This part I hate to talk about, but it's important for me as a business person. I built launch flows starting in 2019 at a time when everybody was hot to trot on Beaver Builder and Elementor and Divi and Oxygen and this and that and this and that and this and that and this and that. Everybody was still in the between worlds between the classic editor of WordPress and traditional templates and the new Gutenberg. What is it going to be? And they effed around and they found out. I was saying this in 2019 and I didn't invent this, but I was just saying common sense prevails. That's why being old has its advantages. You've seen it again and again and again and again. I said back then, launch flows is going to be built with core functions, jQuery, which runs mostly in the browser, and universal shortcodes. And although I did concede in the current version of Launch Flows 4X to have Elementor components, I said no to everything else other than the core. And I stopped supporting Elementor as far as improvements 2 years ago. Why? Well, we all know what happened. Gutenberg went to town. It's amazing, incredible. Using Cadence with it makes it even better because you get this universality. But like Elementor's left the building to their own hosting. Divi is essentially left the building. Everybody's left the building into their own worlds because they realize everybody's already got a brand new car in the garage of their WordPress house. And yes, you can agree on different flavors of theme like Astra or Cadence or Blocks or Bricks or whatever. But if you just say, hey, I've already got the best stuff and it's already got free patterns and inspiration and help, you don't need any more. The part about the funky jQuery or JavaScript, instead of me doing the functionality of these plugins where it breaks or hijacks the core features of WooCommerce or of WordPress, instead, I tried to do everything as light as possible so that it runs in the browser of the user, which means that it loads instantly and it works instantly. And I'm not breaking functions that, as let's say WooCommerce improves or changes, I have to continually fight to improve or fix. Mine is, it's kind of like one of those 3-card Monty things, you know, where the guy's like moving the cards around and like, where's the ace? Where's the queen? By putting the stuff on the screen default, I essentially, with these tools, hide it, and then you get to move it around on the back end, and it shows it where you want it. And there's other tools in there, obviously, of course, but like that's it. So it's been possible for me as a single developer to not have the kind of cognitive overload of support that many of the other plugin colleagues of mine have, including like the amazing WP Fusion or the Fluent or Lifter or LearnDash. Those have a lot of support required because they're deep into the core of what things are doing. So I didn't want to be in that position, but that gives us the flexibility of realizing, like, people say, Spence, when's the next update of, I'm like, well, when's the next update of your spoon or your butter knife or your frying pan? Like, when it works, it just works. You don't need to improve it. It just works. All right. Finally, no coding required. That kind of goes hand in hand. I won't belabor the point. If you were clever and wanted to know just a smidgen of CSS, That will help you across a lot of things in WordPress, not just anything I'm doing, but absolutely not required. So everything that we're doing with this shenanigan, as I just showed you, is drag and drop WYSIWYG, right? So you only need to know how to click and go to the style section to change the colors from blue to red or whatever it is you want to do. You only need to know how to click on the font size to go like, I really want this label to be gargantuan and so forth, right? You don't need to know CSS. Although if you do know a little CSS, you can make use of it. So inside of here, I give you like easy enough for my mom level. You can use these things called classes. Think of a class as like an adjective. If you wanted this payment thing to be hidden everywhere, but only show up on one page, well, click on the thing, go to the advanced tab, and then just add two classes. The first one is says LF, launch flows, hide. That means hide it everywhere. But, so it's like storytelling, right? This happens, but I want to show it. LF show on the payments page or the payments endpoint. Simple as that, right? So if I go to addresses, we see the same thing. Just, you don't need to know CSS. You just need to look at the reference in our documentation. I've got it all laid out for you guys, bookmarked and everything. You know, I want to show something before the content area. Well, just put in the class on that element, LF, before content. I want to show it after the content, no matter where it is on the page. Cool. Use the class after content. It'll move it and so forth. Hide the dashboard, hide on the account page, hide on the address page, or the reverse, which is, you know, show it. Okay. So having done that, you don't need to know any coding, and CSS is nice, but you're going to get by just fine without it. And that's it. So just to sum up, when it's all said and done, I have a couple more details on what's to come. First of all, I do absolutely want you guys to understand, since I put the first priority on my customers who have joined me in the past, you will always be honored, cherished, protected, and given the best of everything. If you are a Launch Kit subscriber, whether for the $47 a month or the $97 a month, you have already got this in the software bundle. It is included, my friends, and you do not pay anything else, of course. So if you go to the software bundle, you'll see it's listed under, along with the other stuff, LF Customer Dashboards 0.11 beta, right here to download. I have a new version that I may update today because I'm adding a couple other tchotchkes into this. Number two, if you are here and you feel like you're a capable, creative business owner and you want to succeed, I would recommend you try the Launch Kit. That is your best value. I'm being as honest as I can about it. The Launch Kit is available from the front page, but it's available in two flavors: software only for $47 a month, or that's the to-go, where you get essentially the software bundle, use it anywhere you want, unlimited sites, but you're getting no Spence support in terms of hands-on, email, and you're getting no hosted site solution. 47, incredible value, because you could try for 47 bucks instead of paying me 97 and go out and sell one and then stick around. It's like my way of telling you how to cheat me out of like the extra money, but it's not cheating me because I know you're going to become successful and addicted immediately. That's how it works out. Number three, Launch Kit. That's the best value because for 97 bucks, you get three things. You get all of the software, $3,500 of software. You get unlimited email consultation from me, which anybody here who's watching can attest. I make my living by being the best concierge in the best hotel in town. So you ask me anything, you're going to be shocked how amazingly fast and well I answer. So high five to anybody who's experienced that. And then I also provide a hosted Launch Kit website. So you get everything set up, ready to go with all the tools you need. And it's the best hosting in town. It's rocket.net. It would cost you $30 retail, $54 if you went to the same thing on Cloudways. It's included, but it gives me a way to give you a hosted solution that is guaranteed to work awesome. So you can go with Launch Kit for a month. instead of giving me $97 here one time. But this gets you the plugin in a traditional way with updates for a year if you buy it here. Finally. But wait, there's more. The third way to get it is if you are just like oldie schooly, I've got a product called Poofka. Poofka has 4 parts in it. It has Launch Flows plugin. It will have this plugin in it. It has WooCommerce and WooCommerce subscription. And the reason Poofka is useful, if you're one of these oldie schooly people who want to just buy a box and put it on the shelf, or maybe just use it with Canva or something else, this gives you a way to get it by paying $197 once. And you do not get the support like you get from $97 a month launch kit. You do get the key software I'm describing here. And it still has a money back guarantee of 30 days. I'm not like worried about anybody ripping me off, but that's another way of doing it. So 3 ways to get it. One-time Poofka, which has a limited set of stuff. Get just the plugin for $97 for the whole year, supported, but like not like as a business, just as a plugin, or get one of the launch kits, $47 a month, $97 a month, that includes the other things that you might want or need to go farther. Either way, I encourage everybody to give it a try, because the thing that I'm also doing is, I mentioned to you, we're launching this other big partnership. We finally come up with a formal name and finalize the details. The launch date of the announcement has been moved to July 5th. But in the meantime, all of the things that we're doing are going to be put into the launch kit, WP Launch 5 pages. So in other words, just finalizing the methodology. Think recipes, right? So as I suggested to you, imagine a world where you just know, I need something, I don't know, I want tacos. I got 4 ingredients. I want to make a souffle. Instead of worrying about like the entire big picture of everything, by breaking stuff down into, look, step A, B, C, D for either your business or for each feature of your business, is a way that the metaphor, I think, is going to help people, because we don't need you to know all the gory details. We don't need you to go out shopping for ingredients. You just say which thing you want to make. The ingredients are in the fridge. Here's the recipe. In 1 minute or less, you're ready to go. And you've got full support, because like IKEA, like Legos, like a car that's built, we know what's in the fridge. We know what people have done. So there's none of this Frankenstein problem. All right. Very quiet crowd today. I'm going to go hit my walk. I'm going to start and end the same way. I am not physically fixed, but I'm on the way to where I want to be. I've gotten some new exercises and the sunlight's helpful. I am working on getting back to making my Instagram videos from my walks, but like, it's been a struggle, but I'm able to sleep, I'm able to work, and I feel like everybody goes through something or another. So I've been keeping myself really busy with the coding and the customers, but I'm really excited, I hope you are as well, that the summer's here. So it's going to be more about like 3 months of awesome weather, and the kids are going to be doing their stuff maybe out of the house. I'm going to try to focus on getting myself back to where I was, so that we all benefit from like an exciting new world of business stuff, software stuff, WordPress stuff, and how to live your life in a way that's like fun and low key. I hope you guys agree and will join me. Love all you guys. Thanks for joining me. I will see you on the next video. Thank you, Brendan. And thank you everybody else who's attended, Ann and Chris and Jeff and everyone else. Email me. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope to see you inside.